Most research says that people without kids are often happier than those with children, and that's usually because they have less free time, sleep and money. But a new study suggests that parents are actually happier than non-parents, but only when their children have moved out.
Yes, up until now, most surveys of parental happiness have focused on those whose children still live at home. The study by Heidelberg University in Germany, though, focused on people aged 50 and older, and it found out that parents had greater life satisfaction and fewer symptoms of depression. But, as Catty said, only if their kids had left home. With me now is blogger Vicky Sarias, also known as Honest Mum. She has 2 young children. Also joining us from Oxford is one half of the Two Empty Nesters blog, Nigel Redpath. Thank you both very much for joining us. Vicky, let me start with you, as you are the challenged one. You've got 2 children, they're 9 and 6, and you're Honest Mum. It is a grind, isn't it? It's hard work. You don't sleep enough, you don't have enough time to yourself, and you've got a lot of routine to work through.
No, absolutely. I mean, you know, parents, I'm not going to pretend it is absolutely a struggle. Women, maternal rights are not great when it comes to the workforce. And then again, later on, you know, we find that women are economically fragile because they're then caring for elderly relatives, which is relevant to this also, because we pick up that, and that's why I'm presuming parents are not feeling so lonely. But I feel immensely happy. I'm not saying you must be happy in order, you know, to have children. Lots of people don't have children and are as happy. But I personally feel that there's nothing that's felt as precious to me. The unconditional love that you feel as a parent, and for instance, also the support that your own kids can give you. I think that often we forget the power that our, you know, can give to us. I had an operation last year and my kids were massively strong and they kept me feeling happy and loved, and I think it's really important not to dismiss that and just to say it's when you're elderly and your kids have left that you'll start to feel content.
Yeah, Nigel, you see, I just don't buy this. I have 4 kids, 3 of them have left home, and every single day I'm asking them to move back in with me, or at least move into the house next door. I never want them to leave. I want my kids around me all the time. I think it's a total bait and switch. We spend all of this time raising our children, and then they go off to college and we never see them. It's a disaster.
I think you move on to a different stage in the relationship. I certainly have, and you know, one of the things that I've taken, you know, I've taken the opportunity is with my partner is that we've got into a certain level of independent travel that we just couldn't do when we had family holidays. We kicked that all off with a 2-month round the world trip. That would have been massively hard to do with children when we had them in the place. And actually, we've inspired them since to travel to some of the places that we've been to.
I'm with Nigel. Nigel, I support your view, if not entirely, considerably, because I also think that you get time suddenly to do things you haven't been able to do. But isn't it fair to say, really, this is a sort of life continuum? Because when my children come back, it's fantastic. And we relate in a different way to when they were 9, 10, 11, etc. We have more fun together probably now than we did when they were younger. They are still absolutely integral to my life.
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly right. I mean, I was just contemplating it the other day when I got my hair cut, and I was sitting next to a man with a 3-year-old boy who was having his hair cut. You would think this child was being murdered, and it just took me back. It just took me back to those you know, times. Of course, there's a lot of joy in the bringing up of a young family, but there's also times when you know, it just feels like a bit of a struggle every day, and you know, it often coincides with a time when you're trying to build your career, and yeah, there's other stuff going on. And yeah, I would agree, David, the relationship that I have with my daughters now is one that's just kind of evolved onto the next stage.
So, Vicky, okay, yeah, exactly. I love seeing the kids grow up. Full disclosure, there are times when I walk through airports where I'm very glad that I have not got 15 different bits of equipment that I'm having to carry through the airport. Vicky, can you imagine a time when your kids they're so young now, but when they leave home, and do you think that is a time you'll look forward to, or not?
Oh no, I'm that person that's already worrying about that and hoping that my kids will just move back in with me.
I hate it.
And everybody, you know, when
It's
when I blog, everybody says that they miss those days. I have quite, you know, an older sector that follow me, grandmas as well as mums, and they all say, oh, I miss those days. And even as I was coming to the studio, my little one who's 6 said, Mummy, I can't wait to get into bed and cuddle you tonight when we get home before I go into my bed. And it is very precious. I think I understand the freedom, but also as parents, we can still travel with children. It doesn't have to be expensive. We just came back from Devon recently and with the kids, and it is really magical times. I often look at things and say, these are the times of my life. No period is adversity free, right? So, and obviously as you get older, you have grandchildren most of the time. So I think that, like you say, you were saying it does continue. Let's enjoy the today. I'm going to try not to complain as much anyway, moving forward.
Well, judging from what you're saying, Vicky, you're not going to change your view at all. I just very briefly for you, Nigel, is there anything you would do differently in terms of being a parent and then moving on? Do you start younger? Do you not have children? I mean, what's your view now?
Well, yeah, it's interesting. I actually read the book The Prophet, when the kids were young, and it says on children that the parents are the archer and the children are the arrow, and you need to aim true and aim in the right direction and pull it back with all your might. And when that arrow leaves the bow, you've just got to make sure that you've set it off in the right direction. And that's really stuck with me all through the time.
What wisdom to close that sequence.
What wisdom. I love that. Nigel Ridpath, Vicky Sarais, thank you so much for joining us. I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one, David, you and me.
Yes, Catty.
Ever since the Victorian Prime Minister